Alrighty. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 368 of the Saturn Studs Podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my out-of-shape co-host,
garden
Peter
tour
and Jake.
Episode of the cast. It's going on right now, right outside my door, and it's never at the right time because they put it in like the afternoon on a work day, and like, okay, tell me you're not for the people without telling me you're not for the people. Go tour the secret gardens of the brownstone neighborhoods of our town. See which one is the most opulent.
I kind of love it. It's distinguished. And it's
If you make an hourly wage, you are disinvited.
And here we have the local Easy Mart, where you can pick up the pack of menthols for cheap.
And maybe one of 57 corner stores.
Yeah.
What are cigarette prices like in
We've seen
Maryland?
a stark decrease in the amount of corner stores in my town. It's very sad.
It's a shame.
It's like the value of gold. It's an economic indicator. How many places you can get CBD gummies at any given time?
My Baltimore indicator was always where the hip hop fish and chicken and how many stores they were
sounds
around.
Like a really good place. I haven't done a deep dive on like a food chain in a while. It was hip hop.
I think hip hop fish and chicken.
We'll make it super quick.
Peter, I understand you haven't done it in a while, but I don't know if now
Amazing.
is the most appropriate.
Yeah, but
both
I think
fried.
Both fried, and I think the one
you.
thing to note is the type of fish that I think if I know them like I know them, it should be lake trout, but I could be wrong. Oh,
so there are 37. There are 37 locations in the Baltimore area.
Now, when you think of your fried fish, you probably think of haddock.
That's what's right. Correct.
I think
so.
We are apparently a tourist destination, even though
up here.
They have never gotten my order on time and correct.
This is pretty solid. So for $12.49, choose any two. Here's the fish options: catfish fillet, catfish nuggets, half a pound. Ocean perch 2. You get 2 ocean perch. Whiting 2.
God damn it, we're off the rails.
Fine, normal one. Trout 2. 10 shrimps or 3 jumbo shrimps. You got your normal chickens, except the outstanding chicken gizzards, half a pound, and chicken livers, half a pound.
Jake, I have to. I'm already disappointed in this. Like, we got to move on from this because they've committed a sin, and that's enough for me to stop this rabbit hole deep dive. Their rate on buffalo wings is rough. Like, it's only like the bulk rate, 100 buffalo wings for $95. Like, that's not a good rate.
Look,
you're bulking them like not 87 at least. We want some real economy of scale on this shit.
Like $1 a wing.
Look, they already know they're when it comes to wings, when it comes to buffalo wings, nobody's going to this place being like, "Oh, gotta get me some of them buffalo wings." You know, that sauce, it's perfect consistency. Yeah,
classic,
but it's just
Maryland buffalo wings.
It's just to appease the people,
but
and
they
probably get a discounted rate buying so much chicken. They're like, "Hey, we'll throw in some wings." Okay.
All right. You know what? Never mind. This is the new low. How are you gonna sell me a pound of chicken gizzard for $8?
Hey,
fried chicken livers for $8? Come on now. I know it's trendy and shit, but it's still the literal awful part of the bird. It's that shit you get in a little baggie with your turkey that you just go in the stock pot. I'm not eating that shit. Yeah.
It's
Yo, do you
fucking,
do you think you get the stones?
It's
That's
the
what I
little
was
get the
pouch
wondering.
that they
fucking
hold
lizard wizard.
stones in to grind their food up.
You ever? This was an interesting thing. Somebody was turkey hunting, and I guess they were an avid turkey hunter, and they would go around shooting turkeys from different states, from different locations. My man would take out their
you can't
gizzards.
just call them that. They're people.
This was a murderer. No, he would go around and collect their gizzard stones, and then he would label where they were from, and you would see like a pattern develop because they would eat different rocks and minerals and such. I thought that was pretty neat.
Necklaces out of them.
Well, he was searching for a diamond, so
Is that
it's a very so like on one hand it's a kind of an interesting hobby, right? And there's some scientific romance to that. On the other hand, it's a really disturbing
my
fucking
man was
hobby.
really out here trying to get on the
Probably is
purple
an
loot
indicator
table. Like
for
he was
some
trying to
sort of
find a fucking
psychological
diamond in a chicken stomach.
red flag.
That's amazing. I support this man in his quest.
yeah, I am not getting the Google search results I wanted. I looked up turkey diamond hunting, and I just got a bunch of weird shit from like games and stuff. So that's not it. But hey, you know, you might get lucky. You might kill a turkey. Always check the gizzard. There might be a big old diamond in there that they picked up off the ground. Well, you know, you got your
turkeys.
Got your Appalachian
African turkeys.
Turkeys.
That's where the diamonds come
Your
from.
Appalachian
Mostly.
diamonds.
Elon Musk's turkey operation.
There's some emeralds in those gizzards. Check Elon's gizzard. What's there? I think he's got a couple emeralds in there.
There be emeralds.
He does have a pretty sizable gizzard.
Mm-hmm.
He's been gizzing it up.
I need to see now. I've created an image in my head that I now will die unfulfilled.
There's gold
if I never
in
see.
them gizzards.
I want an old prospect.
He's got to search his whole
telling
life.
me there's
right, and right at
gold in
the
them
climax
gizzards.
of his story, like a meat packing plant explodes and like turkey carcasses are raining from the sky. And he's like, "By golly, it's a blizzard."
Speaking of Blizzard, coming at you live as always. We're coming from a Dairy Queen booth. It's a neat Dairy
We're
Queen.
mixing
They
metaphors
kind of did
here.
a retro fit for it, retro style to it. They kept it to like the old Dairy Queen, and we're gonna all be trying their new Blizzards.
It's like how they have like the syrup in the bottom, or like the little like extras in the bottom, except it's just a fucking hot dog.
Well, yeah. One
they
of
turn it
us
upside down, the hot dog doesn't come out.
So two of us got the Glizzy Blizzards, the Glizzards, and one of us has a Glizzard the old-fashioned way, which is turkey gizzards in your Blizzard. We all got to figure out who's got what.
Mm-hmm. And you have to guess which one is which.
Yeah, we're gonna pass them out randomly. No peeking to
they
see
didn't
if
label
you got
them
chunks
like
of
we asked for
hot
in the
dog in
delivery
there. We're just gonna
instructions.
take a big old spoonful or slurp. I don't think you can slurp Blizzards. Yeah.
No, it's gotta be.
We're gonna take a
big old
spoonful
like
and see if we
hunkin'
can get
slurp.
some
You gotta dive in with both
turkey
feet. None of this
gizzard
pussy shit.
out of our Glizzard or some glizzy, or if we're gonna be gobbling some glizzies in our Glizzard. Fine. Take me out back. I'm done. I'm cooked. You let me cook too long.
Shoot this
burnt.
job turkey.
I'm burnt.
Put him on Trae Watch.
I like the word Glizzard too much.
You had the out. We gave you the out. It's all right. Trae Watch time.
Boys, that's coming back.
On that note,
Um,
now that audio can be isolated for all time.
You know how you were made, boy? With my glizzy.
Little Joey Vito's gonna hear that when he's like 10 years
I
old.
saw a funny TikTok of a new dad holding his kid.
This is your
fresh,
daddy.
a couple minutes out of the oven,
Out of
and
the wrapping.
he's crying.
Mint condition.
He's crying, holding him. It's so sweet. And then he's like,
when they need
"You
to,
used to
when they
be
look
my
like they need to go
cum."
back in.
I'm like, he's not wrong.
Like respect for being willing to
I
like
think it's the
bastardize this joyous occasion in your life.
It's best
for
if you have fun with the first one.
an
Never
okay
come out just
joke.
like pancakes.
Yeah. He's the starter pig. It always happens too. My mom would always make pancakes. Her first batch never came out right. Maybe the same is going to be with Joey. Who knows?
Call them Little Joey pancakes.
I'll put them back in. Guess we got to.
And that's why I'm the third child.
Let me check the batter. Make sure the batter's okay. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Nope, this one's not quite
Is the
done
oven
yet.
too hot? Like, what was up with that?
Where do we start?
Um,
I think we should leave. Let's just start with I think you should leave season 3. It's more Tim Robinson. All the Tim Robinson you could want.
Yeah.
I made an
It's coming.
oopsie whoopsie yesterday, thinking the new season was out because it was like promoted.
I'm sure
on
it'll be
Netflix.
funny.
I just ended up watching a whole episode I had already seen. Yeah.
Oh, I've watched all the episodes. Like,
I
7
think
times
he's
at
got
least.
some really
certain
fucking
sketches,
solid ones
like,
that have a lot of
probably close
repeatability.
to 100 times.
And then there are some that are just like, I mean, it's the same thing with Tim and Eric. Some
Right.
sketches are going to land and kill and be like ingrained in your memory. Like Sloppy Steaks is a fucking classic.
Iconic.
Uh,
Fucking the haunted house tour.
the Haunted
Great.
House tour is great.
Yeah.
Corncob TV. Oh,
Dan Flash's shirts,
And that's even one that
Yeah.
I didn't
The,
like so
Cutco
much.
pants?
Corncob TV is fantastic.
calico cut pants, fantastic.
Damn.
It's just those are keepers
Calico
for
cut
sure.
pants, yeah.
I think that's the real joy of a good skit show is that you can just you just have a shotgun and you do accuracy by volume where you can just plop out every idea you've thought of in the last 2 decades onto one season of TV and one of them's gonna hit.
Well, I think as far as
I think
as far
too.
as hit
Yeah,
rate goes for a sketch show, I think you should leave as one of the higher hit rates.
Yeah, the only one that comes
like,
close.
there
I think,
are
is
several
probably,
episodes that are just wall to wall
Key and Peele
bangers.
as like sketch comedy, but they were a more mainstream sketch comedy, which arguably is harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of their stuff was kind of like they relied
to
a
be fair,
lot
a
on
lot of Tim Robinson's
4 or 5
content is
jokes.
the same.
were, like,
It's all around the
9
same
to
sort of
80% of
vibe
their sketches.
of yeah.
Yeah. You take a really
Same
serious
energy,
beat,
but like
and then you just
the,
splice it
the
with
punchlines get
really
crazier and
out there
outlandish.
reactions, and just Tim Robinson can fucking send it on whatever he wants.
Just the combined that 115% unhinged behavior, combine it with incredibly awkward silence. It's a powerful combination.
It is. It's solid.
Much like Cocaine and Sharks. This is not a real trailer. It is, but it's an asylum movie, and the only reason it's getting traction is because Cocaine Bear was already that insane. So Cocaine Shark is just see, the thing is, I thought this was going to be a real movie, like a real sequel to Cocaine Bear. Like they just went right for it and made another one. But then I saw the effects and I was like, oh, this is an Asylum movie. Okay, that makes sense. Meg 2.
Yeah, making movies about sharks is really in right now. You got Big Shark, you got Meg 2, and you got Cocaine Shark.
Yeah.
And maybe even another shark
just
movie
under
that
the
I've
surface.
mentioned. You know, they're always lurking around there. The horror, the terror from the
2023
deeps.
shark movies. Are there any new shark movies coming out in 2023?
Rest in peace.
Oh,
Terror
they're
from
all
the
talking
deep.
about the Meg. Nah, you gotta go deeper than that.
Deeper than the Meg. I want something weirder than the Meg.
You can't.
Yeah, I really shouldn't be surprised.
Peter, we are among the deeper cutters.
Yeah, where's
in
my
this sphere.
Sharktopus versus
you can't really
Rockzilla,
rely on people
you know?
to cut much deeper than we do.
Mecha Croc.
Mecha Croc versus well, that's a twist. Is that? Oh God, that would have been a force to be reckoned
The
with.
birdemic
Literally, a
natural
natural
versus
phenomenon.
the
to be
Sharknado. Why
reckoned
did that never happen?
That's...
And the Earth rotates.
I think the Earth's magnetic pole shifted.
Is done.
Had that been released?
Oh, good movie.
So we
unlike
got a lot
Cocaine
of
Shark.
we got a lot of featurettes, and we did get the final Flash trailer as well.
Yep.
Which gave I guess some added scenes. There was some extra stuff. I've been hearing a lot of pretty solid stuff about the movie, but then again, who knows who's been paid to say what?
Yeah, like I heard from a buddy. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I heard from this YouTube reviewer that like the movie was like super hype and super great." Our local hype beast, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. When's it coming out?" It's like next month. I'm like, "Why? Why are we doing this now?"
A lot of reviews came out really early, trying to hype this up. I think this does bring in a side conversation of like Ezra Miller is really fucked up, and I guess he's trying to change because like if this does as well as I think it will, he still has like a place in the DC extended universe.
Well, Peter and I saw an article the other day from I think one of the editors on The Flash, who said that people are going to forget Ezra Miller's crimes after seeing the movie.
Yeah, but like also, it's such a weird thing to talk about people's crimes because the justice system is so much slower than the press. So when Ezra was doing his crimes and torturing people, it was all over the media. We were hearing about it all the time. So we're like, he is enemy number one. And then this news cycle moved on. And he went dark for a while because he wasn't in anything. And now this movie's coming out, which this could be delayed for all we know to get people
honestly
to forget about shit.
I believe it. I think a delay would be very good for a lot of things. So I'm looking at this trailer, and a lot of the scenes are from the battle with the Kryptonians, and it's a big, brightly lit battle scene, and it really is showing off the seams of the VFX burnout that we've been seeing. These are like game cutscene level graphics.
Yeah. I think it's ready to go.
This movie's not getting delayed.
And I think they're just
I think what
they're
Jake was
holding
saying
on
is
to
that
it or
delayed
polishing it up really slowly
because of what Ezra
so
Miller
people
happened.
continue to forget about Ezra Miller. You know, you take it to an extreme. If this were released in 2 years, people would probably have very little issue with Ezra Miller being in it. Or at least the voices that are loud aren't going to be very prominent because they're like, okay, we moved on. So that being said, we have to draw the parallel to Jonathan Majors, where he has been charged with assault Yeah, I don't know if
He had his day in court
I
also, I
think
believe.
that's there was something that came out.
He had
as
a
well,
court date in early May.
like an update to it, and Disney's keeping it very close to the chest, and no articles are mentioning him. I think they might be going back to the drawing board, but like, what if he isn't not innocent, but like, what if he did a fucky wucky and he settles, or he just has to pay a big fine, like the shit that happened with Trump, because I don't think she's pressing charges. I think it's a state pressing charges, on like domestic abuse, and if they settle and all he has to do is like plea and
also not
jail time.
say more shit.
Yeah. Do more shit. Yeah. Not say exactly.
Infinite
keep your mouth quiet.
Not
and
fuel the infinite money glitch.
Exactly. Because she's suing him for more.
And he's like, and then he shit talks her about her suing him. And then the lawyers, the only lawyers left in the country that aren't public defenders and are still willing to take the case are just like rubbing their temples in frustration.
Just pay the fine.
That would involve Donald Trump shutting up, which is
I think his ultimate game plan is getting into our office and pardoning himself, if that's possible. It's just like that's his scapegoat. It buys him another 4 years.
I believe it would be, but also.
But whatever. Jonathan Majors. They have put him on a pedestal for the MCU. Could they have a similar Ezra Miller effect down the line?
It's not what we're about here.
They could do that too. But
they could just recast him.
No, yeah, I 100% agree. It's been done
before.
Do you remember when Gina Carano was?
Do you remember when Terrence Howard was Rhodey? I do.
Yeah, no, arguably, I would think that what Jonathan Majors did was way worse, even if it's like overplayed. Yeah, should have said a bad take. So
it was 1,000 times. Gina Carano just had a
Disney
very unpopular opinion she wouldn't apologize for.
Yeah.
And then people kind of proved her point a little bit by like witch hunting her out of a job.
Don't want to cross it.
Don't take no shit.
So I don't know. Could they wait and bide the time and see if we can get the Ezra Miller effect on Jonathan Majors, or just cut their loss and put their money behind somebody else and recast him? That might work. And I honestly wouldn't care, to be quite honest. I don't have much water behind it. I just feel bad for like people who have to redo all the scenes, and I know it's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah,
so.
like what is?
Well, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
So the only thing that he is set to be in next would be Loki season 2.
These way out movies.
And there are rumors already going around that they're doing a ton of reshoots, which might validate or might confirm that they could be trying to recast Jonathan Majors. Yeah, totally. Could at least have it there in case an innocent plea gets out or something.
Or at least hedge their bets.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what the Flash is going to be about. There's just more scenes out there, so go. Yeah, we can't.
Maybe that's the Flash.
Yeah, so
I feel like it showed a much different
They talked more about him going back in time, trying to change stuff that happened, trying to save his mom, and then him bumping into his past self somehow. So there's going to be 2 flashes, and then a little bit more about Kara Zor-El.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see if
and a few different shots of like.
We'll see if the rumors about like a Dark Flash is true, because that is supposedly the enemy in here.
Is Dark Flash a thing? Not the Reverse Flash or Dr. Zoom.
Oh, so the rumor is because a
Zod
toy
not
was
the
leaked,
enemy here?
and it looks like they've seen glimpses of it in here, that there's a Kryptonian that was like did some science to, and was given Flash powers somehow. Not sure if they like steal Flash, if Zod like steals.
But like,
Mm-hmm.
other than not technically connecting to the Speed Force, Superman is nearly as fast as the Flash.
I don't know.
So why the hell would a Kryptonian ever bother
I
to
don't
do
know.
all that
Maybe
science
maybe
for
they
like
want
I
to
don't
do
know
time travel. They
3% speed
want to conquer all the
increase?
universes. It's the march of the Kryptonians.
Well, Superman has on multiple
So yeah,
occasions
I don't
literally
know if
reverse the spin
I
of
hope
the Earth
it's
to
just
turn
Zod,
back
or
time.
maybe something completely different that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, or
Yeah,
or
'cause
something
Zod,
that
I feel
we're not
Zod
even
got
seeing,
shafted a
that
little bit
like,
in Man of Steel.
completely out there. Oh, I have no idea.
So,
We'll
That's
see if
fine.
it has any problems like Problemista.
Nice.
Hey, that's a seg and a way.
And a 24 movie.
Yes. This is 24 movies.
Yeah.
I think they made more than 24 movies. I counted.
Yeah, A24.
Are they like a Chinese restaurant where the wok and then number is the
At this
size of their
point, they've
biggest
made
wok?
so much more.
So now they have to, like, every time they get a big wok, they have to change the name of their restaurant. We had one of those. We had Wok 26,
Maybe.
and then they bought a 28-inch wok, and they changed their name to Wok 28.
You know what? I can't say I've ever had that happen to me.
It seems like so much. Yeah, I've never experienced a Chinese restaurant that was just named Wok.
At least the code where
number.
we're from is like it's
And,
like
it
China
seems
Wok,
like so
or
much more
Golden
effort.
Dragon Buffet,
than it's
Jade
worth.
Palace.
Yeah, it has to have China.
Yeah, these are special ones. I went to
Dragon,
one today, which was maybe a different one, where it's Wok 2. So I can only imagine there was a 2-foot wok.
Wok. I imagine 2-inch wok.
And their shit was so good, because you know the shit's gonna be good when you go in and the pictures above the bar are faded. Oh,
like you gotta find like a color swatch from Home Depot,
are
of
all
like
sun
faded
bleached.
green.
Oh
You
shit!
hold it up to the sign, you're like, yep.
yes sir, yes sir.
You know what's a bucket list item that I just thought of and probably isn't accomplishable, but I want to eat at the original Chinese restaurant that all of the stock photos
Yeah,
of
where
Chinese
did they do the
dishes
marketing shots
that are used in every Chinese
what
restaurant
Restaurant Depot
are from?
booklet do they
I want
order
to
their
go
shit
there.
off of? Because they all got the same stuff too.
Yeah, I kind of want to go there, or like go to the. I guess they changed the companies, right? The fortune cookie manufacturer, right? Because it's a different one now.
Oh no!
Yeah, it used to be one company, and now it's another.
They broke up that, so they're gonna break up that monopoly, but not
exactly
not the monopolies that actually affect us, like our ISPs.
When I said return the fortune to the people, it's not what I meant. Probably we should maybe talk about Problemista. It's A24. It's like I don't know. This is too clickbaity Hollywood. But I'll say, it's the Latin everything everywhere all at once.
I was gonna say this is like Life is or Life is whatever. Fuck me. Beau is Afraid, but like less mindfucky and sad.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty straightforward kind of allegory, or visual symbolism seems pretty uncomplicated.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they don't get a job, they fall off the earth, or they leave the earth.
Yeah, it's
whatever. I don't know. It's Tilda Swinton. It's got RZA.
Yeah, it's a A24 stylized coming of age kind of deal. Yeah, the cast is perhaps the strangest ensemble I've ever read
This
on
definitely
Trae Watch.
it feels
Julio
much to me, it's
Torres,
got that
RZA,
flavor
and Tilda
of
Swinton.
Latin magical realism. If you know, you know. Shit. It's just that kind of a genre of movie. So if you've seen other movies in that genre, like Tortilla Soup, I think that's a big one. I want to say, but I could be wrong.
What the fuck's a tortilla soup?
Oh, it's
I would not lump this in with that.
Let's see.
Someone didn't take Spanish in high school.
Like fucking,
it's a movie that's big stars Hector Nerusi.
Oh yeah, like Water for Chocolate.
Or I guess Jerry Stiller.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. Senor Vivo and the Coca Lord. Oh yeah, it's a whole genre of books, and this feels very much like it. So I'm sure the people who are into that will find this and be like, "Yep, this is right up my alley. Time to watch." Oh my
god, the main character is gay though. I can't watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean it's there's been a lot of movies about, the immigrant coming to America, trying to pursue the American dream, having a tough time of it, and this is that kind of story,
and he's
but
gay.
told with the characteristic A24 weirdness that you would expect.
He does.
Sure is.
Yeah, but it doesn't even
also
look
looks like a discount Justin Long.
He's got that.
Tilda Swinton is out here existing.
He's got that white passing skin. He's a light skinned man.
He's got the Alfie hair. Easy. He's got the one Alfie hair.
So that's Problemista, and talk about another Problemista and racial things and shit like that.
I don't know where to go with
is The Color Purple, which
the
back in the Roman Empire days, the Roman Empire days, a little factoid for you. Purple was the color of royalty because that dye was very hard to get. It was a tough dye to procure. And if you were wearing purple and you had purple dyed clothes, it was expensive. So.
Yep. Very true.
Perp,
like the drank.
Correct.
I don't know.
So, yeah. This is a remake of the 1985 Spielberg classic.
Yep.
The Color
Purple. I think this is part of Steven Spielberg's his musical remake sort of or at least, thing he's doing right now. Because he did West Side Story a couple years.
Yeah, this isn't Spielberg.
This is not Spielberg directing.
Well, it's got him in the credits at the end.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Maybe did Spielberg write it or something?
Spielberg directed
like
the original one.
Okay.
Is he a producer?
Well,
maybe they have to give him a credit for adapting his screenplay if he wrote the first. No, because The Color Purple is a book. I'm pretty sure. Christmas Day, produced by Scott Sanders, based on the novel by Alice Walker, screenplay by Marcus Garrett-Lee, directed by Blitz Bowell. He's a producer. So is Quincy Jones and Oprah Winfrey.
Consult them for.
So he's about as involved
creative
as any of them, I'm sure.
Consultation talking to a guy about his creative choices. That's the job of being a creative consultant. Except he's a producer.
If he was on set for more than
and the film covered in those 5 days,
surprised.
It's going to be absolutely astounding.
So I was going through the cast is Halle Berry and Jesus Christ, I'm dumb.
Halle or Haley?
Sorry, my apologies to all the
there's another
Halle
Perry on the loose.
Bailey fans out there that
Halle
I got
Valley.
wrong. I should have understood. I'll repent. Yeah, there's not a lot of like huge names except for Halle Bailey is getting up there in names. I had to do a double take at who her was. I don't know who the fuck a her is. What's a her? Apparently she does the music. And she's a musician. Yeah.
Oh yeah, her is a musician. My ex listened to her stuff. She's
Gotcha.
I guess you would call it a rapper. Most of her shit is spoken
like the
word.
visionary of
it's
our
like
time.
Slam poetry.
Cake.
It's not my thing.
Love cake. Taraji P. Henson, Coleman Domingo, Elizabeth Marvell. I'm gonna butcher this. Ayun Johnway, Ellis Taylor, Corey Hawkins. There's a big cast here. I think it has a time jump.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. It appears that there's a yes. So you're gonna have a lot of characters in this.
The story is told over 4 decades.
And
yeah, like I mean, this movie exists. Like you can go watch The Color Purple on Max right now. The
details are still coming out.
It's an Academy Award-winning movie.
Anything
you'll have
happen.
A good time. Well, I mean, it's a very it's a sad
Who knows
subject.
What this movie is even going to be about?
probably a color purple. I don't know what a color purple is. What does the color purple mean?
What I was gonna call you guys out.
It's kind of
scientists. What's the wavelength? How many nanometers? Because I don't fucking know.
790.
That sounds. You know what, Jake? That's as good as I can guess.
Oh, geez, I don't fucking know.
So we're gonna go with that.
I don't memorize.
It's a
that
lot of
shit.
nanometers.
I'm not Rain Man.
It's a relatively large amount of nanometers. Or it's a.
I would think.
I was off. The other one, other side.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, it's a shorter.
420, 400, 425.
Okay.
Yeah.
420 nanometers, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no color.
I
700.
I probably would have guessed in
red.
like the 600 range, but.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Halle Bailey.
She just got that role in
We Need Young Black
Mermaid.
Woman to sing.
Yeah, I heard she's
movie
a fish.
casting choice. It seems.
Oh, okay.
She was also. I think she was
about
Nala
that movie
Lion
other than
King.
Pride Rock.
Young Nala, at least.
Dude, Pride Rock.
I've heard one thing about The Little Mermaid that people are already clowning on.
I will do some
one of the new songs in there that was sung by Aquafina and whoever the crab was. Yeah, whoever the Sebastian Crab. I guess it was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, so I guess maybe he's got a couple songs in there.
Yeah.
And it's not his best.
I also imagine, the track record, new original songs,
more to do with its lack of quality than
has not been the old multi-platinum sellers.
Yeah, I've read a couple reviews for The Little Mermaid from
The Disney heads.
Disney adults. They don't like it. So it's kind of like most of these remakes have been, where
about the
not
remakes. I heard something
regarded,
got like a
but they make
a
a ton
lowdown
of money.
on like the history of Disney and their releases. And like people are probably like, oh, why are there so many like live action remakes? Why is this whole slew? Why do they have to do all of them? And I think part of it, big part of it, is because they haven't been able to re-release anything and make money off of it in a long ass time.
Right, the
Because
Disney Vault has not been a big cash cow.
The history on the Disney Vault's really interesting, and going back to how many movies and how much money they would make. They would make fucking hand over fist on VC.
In the day of the VHS, yeah.
And you know, VHS were very
Well, you're creating an
rare,
artificial
and
scarcity.
you couldn't get your hands on a lot of them. They were like sort of they used to be like way back in the day. It used to be a very like higher end thing, because if you had a TV set, holy shit. If you had a VCR player, holy shit. And if you could add movies to that, you're on the Ritz, baby.
You look at any coming soon to VHS and DVD for any movie in like 2000 to 2004, you know, maybe 1999 to 2004. It's gonna be relive the magic with Pinocchio.
I'd say like 98 to 03. Yeah, before it goes back into the Disney vault. I mean, it is just, it's weird, right? Because if that's the goal, why go all in on Disney Plus and put all that stuff out there? Why not just
I don't know. I mean, it's
like ransom out streaming rights for
I
these
guess
movies?
The interesting thing is that
this
whole live action remake thing is not a whole lot different than what they used to do in terms of just like re-releasing even to theaters old movies that they used to make that are maybe visually updated and they look a lot nicer for the new bigger screens, whatever, and get them in there and release them again. It is hard to think that the only time we used to be able to see a certain movie was like when it was in theaters, and it could only be in theaters for like a couple months, 3 months or something like that, and then
that is
like
wild. Like
locked away by a black and white mouse with his grimy little top hat and shit.
And I mean, just movies in general. Like this is just a general thing I think about sometimes. Like there was a time when like a theatrical release was the only time you were going to see a movie. They just had no plans for it after it had its run. Like, yeah.
Well, they had no means of distribution. Like before,
you did it, you played it. It was a
television
hit, but
came
no one
out
cares,
in the 50s,
and then you throw it in the salt mine.
You couldn't re-release these movies.
We're gonna re-release it.
And then once TV, kind of became a thing, and then you would maybe be able to see a movie on TV.
So it's
but that was it. Like
you
home
kind of put
video
this into
didn't
a
come
different
around until like the
knowing
80s.
history a little bit more, because I'm like, I just feel like these Disney movies are just getting like less and less impressive and less. I don't know, what was like the first one that was like kind of it. I guess Beauty and the Beast was like interesting to me to go see. Yeah, what was like the first one?
That was towards the first, and that was pretty well received, as I recall. Maybe, was that or Jungle Book?
Yes, it was Little Mermaid, then Beauty and the Beast, then Aladdin, because
was that
the guy who did the music
before that, wasn't it?
Died before Aladdin was released. So I think it's dedicated to him, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah. Sounds believable. Yeah. So like, they're just all they became more and more soulless and transparent, and then they've done a bunch of them and just released them in spite of any hype.
Was that
Danny DeVito in it?
Y'all remember that
Danny
they did
DeVito's
one
a recurring
for
Disney
Dumbo?
staple.
Because well, they did like 4 for not Disney.
Y'all remember
but,
when they did one
there
for
were 4
Pinocchio?
Like, Pinocchio remakes.
That came out last year. Yeah, but Disney produced a Robert Zemeckis
the Pinocchio one they made
version
was
of Pinocchio starring
Garbo.
Tom Hanks, and no one fucking cares.
It was weird because the Guillermo del Toro came out like a year after and won awards because just better movie. It had similar beats. It was just better. So I think Guillermo del Toro had a little bit of a different story to it. Slightly different story. Same overarching beats, yeah. But it's just done and executed
it's the
better
same
with Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them
No, do it. Kill him.
is a director who, works. I'm not trying to shit on Robert Zemeckis, but this is like, no, Robert Zemeckis has made like 3 of my favorite movies, in the first 2 Back to the Futures and Forrest Gump. Like he's a talented guy. I'm not trying to shit on him, but like it's the machine of Disney. Like everyone's in here because it's going to be an easy paycheck. It's not a passion project. Like Guillermo del Toro doesn't work on movies unless like he's really invested in them, and so you get more attention to detail, more giving of a shit. So like whereas on the Disney set, if they have a take that's good enough, they'll be like, okay, it's in the can.
Well,
But
I think around
with
2019,
Guillermo del Toro, he'd be like, no, not quite right. We gotta try again. Make it better.
Well, that was the release date, so it was before 2019. So 2017, 2018, they did kind of their pre-MCU Disney Plus show vomit, where I think they would simultaneously develop these movies at the same time to try to cut costs, film them around the same time, and just churn them out. I'm looking at the release dates of like we got Dumbo, March 2019. We got Aladdin, May 2019, and we got The Lion King, July 2019. Not done yet. Maleficent 2, October 2019. Lady and the Tramp, November
those all came
2019.
out in 2019.
Is this when they came out?
That's when that's release date, yeah. So some of these, Lady and the Tramp, I think was direct.
That was direct to Disney Plus,
but
I believe.
It still had the production efforts and writing.
But guys, it's okay because we're gonna get the Questlove directed remake of the
Lady
Aristocats.
That was shit.
In November.
When they come out with Robin Hood again,
that's happening
then you can call me.
this year.
Yeah, they haven't done Robin Hood. That's actually
give me that remastered from the Hamster Dance song, the remastered Hamster Dance song to its original sample as it was in the Robin Hood movie.
Dude, Disney's way too fucking afraid because they're going to be like, oh, what if people actually read into the message about stealing from the rich, giving back to the poor? They're just going to like break into our parks and steal our like shitty food. Yeah.
Oh,
they don't want to spread that message.
We haven't had a
y'all remember
since the
that
Occupy
Robin
Wall
Hood movie
Street
where he had
movement.
like a semi-auto crossbow and it was like he came back from Afghanistan? Yeah,
oh shit! You're right. I just lied
through
my fucking teeth because there was a Robin Hood movie that came out in like 2017 or 2018, and I remember everyone clowning on it because the hood in the trailer had like sewing machine stitch lines on it. So you can tell everyone cared.
Yo, we're gonna do
deeply.
Robin Hood, but straight out of Afghanistan.
I did a tour in the Crusades. Oh my lord!
Robin Hood 2018.
So that's the color purple.
Hour and 56
Taron Egerton,
minutes
yeah,
long.
that's who it was.
Almost 2 hours long.
Was it
starring Taron Egerton?
Was it Jamie Foxx? Yeah.
Yes. Jamie Foxx's. Was he Little John?
Jamie Foxx was in it. Yeah.
No.
I liked him better in that vampire movie.
He's
okay. I remember which character Jamie Foxx was.
So that was the color purple. Now, before we get too into the weeds,
the Little
we should
John
at least
stand-in,
discuss
'cause I don't see a
Barbie
Little John
official
in the cast
trailer.
list.
Barbie trailer. Okay. Go on.
Hold on. I have one last point to make about this now like 5-year-old movie. If you were going to give Robin Hood a black sidekick, why would you not just cast Little John for the role of Little John?
Yeah. They messed up.
That's money. That's a license to print fucking money.
Right
no
there.
wonder this movie fucking
on a
sucked.
silver platter.
They had no vision.
One more thing before we get to our last kind of trailer. I guess quick shout out to Secret Invasion for being Secret Invasion, I guess. Just reminder, go to webhamster.com. It's the OG, a slice of internet history. The old school hamster dance. It's a little different. Doesn't play it automatically anymore.
Samuel L.
It plays the hamster dance song. The 9-second clip and has like 1,000 gifs of hamsters dancing.
Yeah, with the release of Secret Invasion, I think now
okay.
is the right time.
Now
they dusted him up as a little grizzled this time.
Years old.
Now this isn't. I don't think this is racially charged, but boy, is that ever true. Black do not crack. That is crack? I think it's not just black don't crack. I think it's just the simple fact that they use a lot of lotion.
A little bit of that Hollywood magic in there too.
Yeah, I agree with Bill Burr's take that it's because black people have like a real incentive to like
we don't
skin.
And Italians have been
ashy.
Have been riding my skin actively produces olive oil ride for too long, and it catches up with you. Olive oil,
how your fingers get a little wrinkly in the shower because it gets too wet.
They're very
that happens with Italians' entire body.
Yeah,
they get older. Oh yeah, no, they shrink, but they keep the same amount of skin. So
my mom is a little Italian. They're all like 5'4", shriveled up like
not
an overripe
as much
plum.
Olive oil as she normally has in her body.
Yeah.
If you leave them in the oven long enough, the moisture kind of heads out and they kind of bake down. Yeah.
Whenever I see her walking around,
reduces it. But it's just that much more flavorful.
They become
whenever she's walking around Florida like barefoot, I always hear like a tss, 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 like she's seasoning up a nice concrete pan in the Florida heat. You could fry an egg on those streets. You can fry an egg on them feet. Anyways, talking about feet, it is relative in Barbie.
All right, let's talk quickly about.
We do get a nice shot of Margot Robbie's dogs in the opening.
I guess it is
for free.
For free. We get one later in the trailer for free. Oh yeah. Hey, it only helps. Her Feet Finder score is only going to go up.
I do appreciate, though, what they've given us the plot, and it is Barbie escapes Plato's cave and leaves the Matrix.
So there was a Disney Disney Channel original movie like this, right?
So
Right.
No, that's just Enchanted or whatever.
In that
where
respect,
Amy
there
Adams
is a similarity,
Disney
but like
princess who finds
instead
herself
of
in
like
the real
Barbie
world.
like being disillusioned with reality or like having an ego death,
So
like character Enchanted just is there.
There was a movie in March 5th, 2000. Sorry, the original network was ABC. Yeah, okay, so it is a Disney DCOM called Life Size, based on the novel Life Size, where Lindsay Lohan's character, I think, wished for her doll to become real or some shit.
Whose name I haven't heard.
And Tyra Banks, the doll, became real and had to adapt to the oddities of
The things of modern
the
life.
real world.
Yeah. That is wild. The fact that
that's been
I'm just looking at the fucking
that's been done.
the poster art.
Ways.
It's like Jesus. That was Lindsay Lohan was a child star and Tyra Banks was a regular star at one point. Good God. But no, this. Mm-hmm. But
Lindsay Lohan had a career.
Talking about this trailer,
mid-teens.
I mean, we kind of expected that. Like, if you're gonna do a Barbie movie, the way to do it is to just take it off the fucking deep end. If you're gonna make it impactful at all, and I think they're kind of doing that as much as they can with it. Barbie versus Mattel. Like, bold move of Mattel to cast Mattel as the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's a cold move. Like, you don't even give a shit.
Yeah. So there was when last we discussed Barbie on the show, Jake brought forth a rumored connection between this movie and the Lego movie. Having seen this first trailer, I am 85% sure that there will be a connection between the two. We did the research.
That was
Mattel
Lego
acquired
movie
Lego from Hasbro in 2017. So, yes. So they have film rights presumptively. And obviously Mattel owns Barbie. Will Ferrell is cast in pretty much the same character role as he was in the Lego movie. Too much of a coincidence. This is gonna be gonna be revealed to be the bizarre twisted imaginations of the little sister. And it's probably not gonna be much. It's probably just gonna be like an end credit scene connecting the two. But everyone's gonna be like, oh, how neat. And then word of mouth is going to drive people to this movie to see that.
It's the same recipe.
And it's going to make
the similarities
a surprising
with the
amount of
movie
money.
Don't stop at Will Ferrell. This is a recipe for a little more subversive kind of thing, like the Lego movie was, where it had some actual kind of comedy chops behind it. And I like it here too. Like the jokes are like good jokes. Kate McKinnon is in here as like at least a good role. They actually capture her as what looks to be a pretty funny character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's like the weird.
She's the Barbie that got experimented
on. The weird,
like
old
painted,
Barbie that had the hair cut off,
shit drawn on her eyes,
and whatnot.
And I don't think there's a better role for Kate McKinnon.
Ryan Gosling out here as the best version of
there's
the
no one
trope.
better for this particular role
just
than
absolutely living it and loving it.
Yeah, I think he had
just
fun
do
with
one
it.
appendectomy. I talk to a doctor. Give me a clicky pen.
That's all it is. That's all being a doctor is.
Yeah, that's a weird. That was. I mean, it was. I guess a put in there to kind of showcase Ken as much of a person as he's going to be in this movie, but like it seemed an odd conclusion to the trailer just from a story perspective. Like it's not as strong a joke as to warrant.
I am actually really.
I mean, this will be interesting. I still probably won't go see it in theaters. I think.
Is that a thing? Is there a double feature out there?
Coming out the same day. Like, if it's not an actual double feature, it's me walking out of Oppenheimer and walking into Barbie.
I wanna drive through or drive in.
Yeah, that's. You see that's actually. I've tried to do double features.
But then again, I don't have to pay for tickets.
It's a lot harder to get the times.
I've already paid for all my tickets. So taking a little layover in the food court seems like a good compromise if we want to hit them both at the same time.
Yeah, I will. I mean, obviously, on that day, I will be going to see Oppenheimer and. After a nearly 3-hour movie, I don't think I'm going to want to go see another movie. Also, I don't know that I can like by myself or even with my other good male friend. As a man pushing 30 years old walk into the Barbie
They went for the reverse psychology marketing, where it's like, if you hate Barbie, come see this movie.
I feel like it's a bad option.
I think it will be a good movie for non-Barbie fans. Because, I mean, I never had a Barbie growing up, obviously. And my parents played the strict gender norms, very by the book. So very anti-Barbie. And now I can go see it in movies. Because I'm an adult. That's what adults do, okay?
That's right.
They go see little kid movies.
Go all by themselves to see the Barbie movie.
You go all by yourself to surround yourself with a bunch of little kids and see what'll happen. Well, I think it's PG-13.
Okay, Kurt, just go sit. You get a seat in the back row.
Like, I don't know.
And you curl up real tight so that no one can see you.
There were fucking kids in Deadpool.
So that, if you can't see them, they can't see you. That's how you keep the most inconspicuous in the Barbie movie.
that definitely.
Or you could rent
I definitely will not arouse.
Or
I will not arouse suspicion at all.
And treat them like they're your kid, and just be like.
They should honestly fucking do that for amusement parks.
Rent a kid.
Like to get on the kiddie rides as an adult.
Well, you go down to Tennessee and you could already do that. I mean, they're already eligible for work.
There's certainly no ethical concerns with that.
I'm sure fucking being the designated caddy at the fucking Disney World is a lot nicer than working at the meatpacking plant. Put the laughter in Slaughterhouse.
Nah. Meatpacking plant has air conditioning.
So that's Barb's. Tour de force of a segment. Really.
All right.
Where is the rating
let's wrap up this fucking
Barbie?
hour and 4 minute
Am I dumb?
abomination of a Trae
Watch.
IMDb?
I mean, yes, but
has it not been rated yet?
I don't think it's been rated yet.
How has it not been? It's coming out in like a month, right?
What's the name of the rating?
I haven't seen it.
I want to say the ESRB, but that's not true.
Oh no, it's July. Yeah, okay.
It's coming out in July. It's the MMPA.
Yeah, no rating yet.
Yeah. I guess they're expecting to rate a PG-13.
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right. Anyway, follow up.
Follow it up.
Yeah. All right.
Pole
Time
position.
for the follow up, and in
Good one, Jake.
in that
Good
position,
one, Kurt. Both kudos.
we have in the pole position we got Fast X bringing in $67 million in its opening.
Yep. It's
week.
This is a very
not a bad opening week,
week
but
this week,
it
for
feels
sure.
a little small. I think this might be like we might be reaching the Police Academy junction point where they're just going to make Fast and Furious movies until they don't make money anymore, and this might be the tipping point.
He's just going to say, all right, we're good. All right.
I mean, it has made $352 million worldwide already, so I gotta think it's at least.
Side note about the Fast and the Furious
almost
movies,
in the black.
Like, how cool would it be to be the guy who gets to choose what cars go in the movie every time? Like, imagine like you're a little kid, you're a little kid car fan, right? You love your Hot Wheels, you love like all auto shit, the car shows, and you're like, when you grow up and you get your fucking job in Hollywood, and they say your job is to choose the coolest cars for the Fast and the Furious movie. And they're going to like drive your car into like space and up a building. And we'll pay you infinity many dollars to get your Lamborghini Magini.
Well, they're not driving the car at that point. It's probably a firm they consult with. And it's just the regular prop master. Like I in the best case scenario, the prop master that's worked on these films was really into cars and realizing that kind of dream. But a far more realistic scenario.
It's my awful Giuliano.
He does a lot of other shit
has
around
been the
and fucking.
There's the I guess the finale sort of
That is
where you have like Dom Toretto or whoever Vin Diesel is with his kid in the car, and they're driving down the dam, and the fire that was the explosion that happens on top of the dam chases them down the dam.
Just like the ice in Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah,
forces of nature, they have a direction. They can follow you.
I hear. I hear.
It was when the fire took like a almost
Jake,
sentient
and I don't
life,
know
and
why.
he had
That
to
seems
race
perfectly
against the fire.
Above
fire pulled a hard left turn,
and then he activated his nitro to, like, zip out of the explosion, out of the fire, and the blue fire of the nitro was like different from the red fire.
It counteracts. Blue fire is cold fire. You're shooting all the cold out the back.
It's good
fire. The engine is hot.
If I've learned anything from Star Wars color theory, yeah,
it's just efficiency. You need that temperature gradient. All right. Anyway, well, you're going to learn a lot more about Fast X because Fast X has sped its way into our spotlight. So let's take a look at how Fast X is doing around the critical sphere here. Yes, far more real. But even the fake critics have things to say about this movie. It's got a shockingly high 55% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes from critic score, 55% on Metacritic, 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, which is notably not that much lower than the original Fast and Furious. Does that mean that the movies were never good? You decide. Okay. So we'll start our real reviewer reviews here with I'm going to try this. I don't know if this is supposed to be a name, or if there's typos or whatever, but Prabhav Gupta 25890. So there were several that tried to grab that username, it would seem. Fast X, better than F9. Fast X has everything. Fan want good plot, bombastic action sequences, villain funny style. Jason Momoa steals the show. Don't care about others, say, trust me. Is the explosive summer blockbuster till Mission Impossible 7 comes out after 8 and 9. This is one of the best Fast movies ever made, but the ending of this film will shock you, and it made you curious to know what happens next. And I think Vin Diesel should release Fast X Part 2 as soon as possible in mid-2024, because this is the epic conclusion to epic saga. Ames, played by Alan Ritchson, is also very cool, and OMG Brie Larson was slaying as hell.
Just blow my mind.
I want to say
that.
go
I
and watch
that.
the movie.
Like
it will blow your mind off.
It will blow your mind off.
Reports.
Oh.
And it is a lot better than F9, the Fast Saga.
Dom Toretto's own
75 out of 199 found that helpful.
This is 100% found helpful.
That's way
rating.
too much engagement.
I will save the best for last, so I will read this one for right now. Shay Volek said 1 out of 10. Is this a Hot Wheels live cartoon movie? Just asking questions. This should have been titled Fast X, Hot Wheels ludicrous movie. Every 2 minutes, I was like, "Are you serious?" With more exclamations at the end. Last time they went to space in a ludicrous. That's the second time it said ludicrous.
Is ludicrous in that movie?
Ludicrous. The last time they went to space in a ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous is in these movies.
With no NASA training. Really? What is next? Going to the dark side of the moon and fight Transformers side by side with Marvel or DC characters? This is a franchise where the bad guys turn good guys in the next sequel and where characters come back from the dead.
I'd watch that.
The Jason My Man Momoa character is ridiculous.
Was it in there?
No, it wasn't in there. But I added that for us.
I hoped for a second.
Shit!
Sorry.
They recognize the vibe. Okay.
I mean, a joke every now and then.
Got me very
is
excited.
Fine, but he should have.
I was
been
like, we've
scary
reached
character,
someone.
not a cartoonish one, laughing every time he did something bad. And he had an incredible eyesight to watch all Al the action miles away. Eve, though there were buildings between he and the cars racing miles away. Maybe he was using his Aquaman super eyesight. This is the franchise that went from real street racing 2001 and with no guns to immortal characters and indestructible vehicles with superhuman stunts and gravity-defying people and vehicles, where the characters have become experts in fighting and experts in the use of military-grade weapons and experts in weaponry made for World War III, using them with incredible precision, and experts in technology. The scenes have become more ridiculous in every new sequel. The best Fast and Furious movies were definitely the first trilogy. Some of the sequels were okay. The late Paul Walker, even though he wasn't a great actor, Vin Diesel definitely is not a good actor. He provided great moments to them. Vin Diesel is always with his exaggerated mad face, with his face inclined down, facing forward. Now it's all about the $$, not about making good movies. In past FF movies, Vince Toretto has been saying the line, "One last ride." Well, as long as cash is flowing, the sequels will be coming, no matter how ridiculous they are. Instead of this movie, I would definitely recommend you to watch the FF spoof Superfast. 2015. It is way better than this. 4 out of 4. Found that helpful.
My man's needs to refold his prions.
That I want the time when he was talking about them being experts. I don't think there was a period.
I don't know if there's punctuation anywhere in there.
I don't know that this man has ever seen a movie before. Yeah, there was
not a
in the
fan of
chat.
periods. All right, I'll
just random capitalizations.
Well, I hit a more all the 5 out of 10s, and this is an actual mediocre movie when all the mid-level reviews are cogent, and I struggle to find one that's unhinged. So it's the realist ones. From Top Dog Critic, 5 out of 10. The most entertaining part of this movie are the ChatGPT 10 out of 10 reviews. I mean, they didn't even try to hide the fact that they are all mostly 2-word titles with copy-pasting the same sentences in different order in one paragraph. Racing Victors, Racing Heat, Racing Rivals, Racing Independence, Racing Mavericks, Racing Tranquility, Racing Liberty, Racing Bliss, Racing Winners, Racing Explorer, Racing Heaven, and many, many more. And those are just the titles starting with racing. There are other obvious patterns with different title words. This has to be a world record for bogus ChatGPT reviews. I mean, it's pretty bad when the producers have to stoop so low and they're that lazy to even hide the fact that they're trying to fool their audience this way. It also proves how little faith they have in their own film. The current Rotten Tomatoes critics' 54% rating is a more accurate, and he is a more Italian. I give it a generous 5 out of 10. It's too bad more effort didn't go into the writing and S/VFX as they put towards trying to fool their fans of the franchise. This was too long, too slow, and too boring. Still a decent popcorn watch if you have nothing better to do, and almost 3 hours to waste. They need to bury this franchise once and for all. 24 out of 32. Yeah.
Hater.
Could be a hater.
You know what, Peter? That guy, he sounds like a hater. And you know who doesn't like haters?
I was
me.
I was banking this
doesn't
on
like
the fact
haters?
that you're about to
My
bust
boy
out
Isaiah Wilson,
a
15.
ChatGPT ass 10 out of 10 review.
This might be a ChatGPT review. It's alarmingly sophisticated if it is one, but I would almost believe it. So Isaiah Wilson, 15. 10 out of 10 with Fast X review. The streets always win. Triple exclamation point.
Everyone ready to take your Turing
19th
test?
May 2023. You decide if this is a very good troll job or a very sophisticated AI. Star Wars Episode 5, The Matrix, Avengers Infinity Way, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think that typo already gives the answer away. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. These are just some of the movies within the world of fictional fandom that serve as tentpoles for millions and furthermore inspired me personally. Fast X has nitro boosted its way into this pantheon as it takes its place as not just the best Fast and Furious movie, but serves as a pendulum swing for the world of cinema. It starts, ends, and ultimately prospers because of family. Fast X specifically pulls the family apart, yet closer together than ever before. This wildly diverse group, led by half-white, half-black, and yet full Latino superstar Vin Diesel, feature his Latino brother, played by John Cena, his half-black son, Brian, and a plethora of other A-list actors and actresses. Shout out to Masandi. Exclamation point. The film somehow manages to perfectly juggle 4, even 5 plot points at a time, with all 18 characters getting their proper arcs within the 2-hour and 20-minute runtime. While the franchise may have been built on family, it is defined by its cars. As Vin stated in the press lead-up, this one really returns the franchise to its grounded, practical roots. Mechanics, aerodynamics, and physics are kept are carefully kept in mind throughout the films. And as an engineer, I can confirm the feasibility of every stunt. Not to mention, every main character now displays expert capabilities in martial arts combat against full-grown individuals in proper ballistics gear. There is a brief moment that requires a minimal suspension of disbelief. He said belief, but I'll correct it for him. Involving an 8-year-old being able to perform donuts in Dodge Challenger. But aside from that one moment, those who crave a return to form for the visceral practical action will not be disappointed. And just when you think the elements of families and cars are there to make for a perfect Fast and the Furious movie, in typical F&F fashion, they once again take it to 12 with Jason Momoa as the primary antagonist. From the opening scene, the manic, psychopathic, yet charismatic energy can be felt every moment he is on screen, while Dante Reyes brings such a terrifying presence that actually feels like he could be the one to take this family down. Momoa takes a page from the Thanos in making an antagonist that still seems so relatable and even right at times. To then tie it all together, not since Infinity War has a movie left on such a cliffhanger that has not only made me want 2 more movies to follow, but truly makes me wish the series carries on for the next 100 years, if not more. People may say this review is a lie, but to quote my brother Dominic Toretto,
I can't believe
ride
you
or
had the balls
die.
to actually
Triple
review that
exclamation mark.
totally sincerely
23 out of
and
67
not sarcastic at all.
So I had to pull up the 10 out of 10s because I was curious to like read along, and then I got distracted going and trying to find some of the AI.
Yeah.
I can see it. There's a long string of really similar titles, and the usernames are like 3 or 4 letters followed by a string of numbers. The Last Ride to Victory, SSMK7888, Race to the Top. No, that was the different one. What were some of these? The Final Lap of Honor, the Final Sprint to Fame, the Last Lap of Triumph, the Final Sprint to Greatness. They're all like similar,
the same kind of.
Yeah. And I'm
boys,
like, and I bet if you read it, it also would be kind of similar. About
see, this is how you know. Like you may think that we're joking about real reviewer traits in this segment, but it's true. We can suss out the robots from the robo reviewers from the real reviewers.
Yeah. And speaking of real reviewers, I got a real one. I got a live one on the line, and we're reeling him in right now because he's so real. Got a Marlin. We got 1 out of 10. It's the movie dude 2000.
Got me a Marlin.
The movie dude.
That's the literal perfect name for this movie.
And the movie dude.
1 out of 10. It's Toretto Tuesday. Okay. My favorite part of the movie is at the end when the dam exploded and Dominic looks right at the camera, breaking the 4th wall, and says, "It's a good thing it's Toretto Tuesday," then punches the water back into the river with his fists and gets into his Charger and does a series of donuts to make another dam, saving the nearby village from disaster. The dance number in the credits was amazing as well. Can't wait for the next 3 to end the series. I don't think this one can be topped, however. The water punching and lasers are going to be hard to beat. Again, the It's Toretto Tuesday line is amazing. 33 out of 49 found that helpful.
It's Toretto Tuesday.
I like my favorite part is when he domed all over those guys.
I love how the guy just fucking drops the lasers in there like without any explanation at all. And
wait, that was a 1 out of 10?
I believe him 100%. I believe everything that he described absolutely happened in that movie.
If I somehow find myself watching this movie and I do not hear the phrase "It's Toretto Tuesday" come out of Vin Diesel's mouth, I will be severely disappointed.
very sad. Like this last 5
I
out
will
of 10
write a
review,
strongly
like I said,
worded letter
these
to
ones,
his agent.
there's no pizzazz, there's no razzmatazz. It's just reviews. With I'm Sieg, I'm Sieg. 5 out of 10 review. Slow X. Boom, roasted.
You sure
The
about
bad.
that?
Too much slow and boring talking scenes in the middle part of this movie.
Got him.
30 minutes or even more could have easily been cut out of it. More bad. The CGI special effects aren't really groundbreaking in any way. Seen it all before, done better. And a few CGI stunts are even pretty cheap looking. That's cringeworthy for such an action franchise. Even more bad. How about the car chases? At least those must be all right. Nah, not terrible, but nothing extraordinary either. I am being honest here. Not any good then? I'll do it. I'll do it. It'll do as a mind-numbing blockbuster for the kids. But even they might get bored by the middle part of this movie with way too many talking scenes. Too much talk. Too little riveting action. No jokes. It'll draw audiences to the cinema, no matter how bad the reviews. That's the power of marketing. 10 out of 17.
Jake, I'm very impressed by your ability to find me a YouTube video with 192
I
views.
was really hoping at some
from
point
5
in
years
here he
ago.
says it's Toretto Tuesday or Happy Toretto Tuesday, but I don't know if he does say it, and it's 5 minutes long of him just driving.
It's like an armpit POV of him fucking cruising.
I don't have a great opportunity right now.
Here.
Oh, jeez.
Just like the camera falls over at one point, so it's like a Dutch angle.
I wonder if this is like a thing in like the Fast and Furious like fandom to say like, oh, it's Toretto Tuesday.
He just keeps doing the peace sign at the fucking camera every.
I don't know.
I don't
think he was genuinely a fan.
Is Vin Diesel the one who did the awkward interview?
It's his one move, Peter. You gotta cut him some slack.
You gotta nail it
where
down there a little bit.
He like sexually not assaults, but harasses the interviewer.
That doesn't narrow it down.
Fucking, you got me. All I see is him stuck in like Miami traffic here.
I don't recall. Alrighty. So that's Fast X. GOG 3 drops 47.7% in its third week, down to 32.4 million for the week. Total worldwide gross is up over 670, which I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not even going to pretend to remember how much money Thor: Love and Thunder made. But
Thor made 760
made like 740,
worldwide.
Something like that. Less than Minions. I remember that much.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna swing by that.
So
Spidey
it's got
style.
a good shot to pass that.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Thor Ragnarok was so much better than Thor: Love and Thunder, and Ragnarok only made 100,000 more.
See, the thing with
what's wrong with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, neither were that great. What was I going to say?
Sorry, I was watching the video that Jake
I'm
sent,
interested to see what kind of tale.
In about a minute and a half, Vin Diesel gets up and waddles over to the reporter that he's been hitting on for the last 90 seconds. And he's like, he walks like this over to her. It's the fucking ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
So it's like a Brazilian reporter, and he's talking about the Triple X, the new Triple X movie, maybe. It could be. And he's
Wait,
he's,
no, this is the OG
dude, I
Triple
can't
X.
even talk about it.
dude, he's on something.
Is anyone else like here not even seeing how good she is? Why don't you come after me? And he just keeps going. All right. Anyways.
Well, you know, you gotta go for it. Sorry, video people. I forgot I had that tab up. Jesus. I'm interested to see what kind of tail Guardians of the Galaxy 3 can have, because it's gonna, like, we're getting into the point now where the releases are gonna be coming hot and heavy.
Indiana Jones.
Like, you got Spider-Verse next week. You got like Flash pretty soon after that. Then you got Indiana Jones, Oppenheimer, Barbie. Bam, 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 bam. Pretty much every week now, there's a pretty hotly anticipated movie coming out. Also, Blue Beetle. And I'm interested to see how much the market can bear.
You got the Marvels, right? I was like, what's Marvel's summer blockbuster?
Tails,
oh, it's the Marvels, right?
Yeah, interesting to slot that as your.
You know what I
well,
heard
I
was
Guardians
of the
their
Galaxy
big
was
summer
originally
release,
slated
that
to
usually happens
come
in
out
May.
After. Was it? It was supposed to kickstart Phase 4. Where in this case it was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Like, what was, I forgot the first movie. I think it was supposed to come after No Way Home. I think, right? That was the last big one.
That's actually kind of wild. I mean, it doesn't really matter because like Guardians doesn't connect to anything.
No,
Guardians 3.
But it would have been a really good movie after a string of really good movies. And
it would have made that one scene with the sling ring a little even more confusing.
Well, I think he's from the comics, so apparently just they have that magic on other worlds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
We talked about this,
but
which is
kind of a weird thing to slip in.
Go watch our review from a couple weeks back.
No explanation.
Guardians 3.
Yeah, people are still talking about it. There's a lot of stuff always coming out. But yeah, I didn't know that. That was I guess the whole thing with James Gunn getting fired and then rehired, I think delayed it a lot. And that's what pushed it back so much. Which is fucking awful because I think Marvel's kicking themselves in the ass now that they're losing James Gunn.
Checks out.
And he's heading DC because they're like, oh, maybe he was our better director because Taika Waititi's kind of losing it with Love and Thunder. And who do we have? Who's left?
Yeah, from what I've heard, like at least from the VFX people who worked on Love and Thunder, is that Taika Waititi is awful to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Like always wants last minute changes, doesn't understand the fact that you can't just make last minute changes for VFX shots. And like I'll try to link you guys the video after this, but there's this guy who presumably works in the VFX business, or at least has a large vested interest in VFX, and he like broke down a lot of the things that they changed with visual effects in Love and Thunder, and like a lot of it is just stupid shit that didn't need to be changed at all, but was just like Waititi got a hair up his ass and wanted it to look different.
It's probably why these movies are probably pretty bloated
was
too,
wasted on shit like that,
reshoots and they're rushed. They're feeling.
Well, that's why the CGO looks like shit, because they don't have time to deliver it, and they're so overworked.
Yeah.
Because Marvel/Disney is a terrible client, and they fucking suck up so much of the industry.
Well, yeah, VFX is like
all them writers guild.
Well,
VFX
and you
houses,
see,
y'all got
they have to see what's going on with the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild. I bet you in a week, 10 days, we're gonna have a Screenwriters Guild or Screen Actors Guild strike as well. And then it's going to be Hollywood's going to come to a halt. They can't do anything with writers and actors.
It couldn't happen at a better time for them because they're all
I don't know what they have in the tank.
Money on
maybe Warner Brothers is going to be forced to release Batgirl.
Yeah.
They have nothing ready to release.
Oh my God.
That's how they do it. That's how they get that shit out. Is that they force it? What are you not just going to have a release in a quarter or something like that?
Is this going to be like how when HBO Max released the Snyder Cut and now Max is going to release the Batgirl cut?
So, if someone who currently or at the time worked at DC's film division, Warner Brothers, DC,
Batgirl?
Called the movie unreleasable, I can only imagine how bad it must have been. Yeah. Like some executive called the movie unreleasable, and it was so bad that they feared it would do brand damage.
I don't trust that
shit.
This is the
same studio that released
Brendan Fraser.
Wonder Woman 1984 and Dawn of Justice.
It's all filmed. It's all done. They just need to put it together and polish it up. And he said I think he watched bits of it and was like, he says it's good. He likes it. I think he was happy with the job.
Yeah.
Well,
you're going to tell me next that The Rock would say that Black Adam was the hardest he'd ever worked on a film?
Yeah, but if you know that it's not coming out and you're pissed about it, I mean, if you genuinely think it was a bad movie, I think he would probably concede to some extent that hey, maybe it wasn't that good.
Well, maybe it had a couple good scenes, but I doubt that he would have seen a full cut of the movie. From
I don't know what's
how
out
he
there.
describes it.
I don't really know what's out
like
there.
Such a thing.
They gotta recoup this somehow, and it's almost hey, Captain Hindsight here. Except we all saw this coming in foresight. Every media company getting their own streaming service. It's not a good business model.
Well, and speaking of streaming services, I think it was announced a couple days ago that Netflix is going to start cracking down on password sharing. I don't know when that date is going to happen. I was told there's going to be an email, but so Kurt, whenever you get that email, just let us know.
Let's cut it.
Yeah, I would say cancel Netflix.
We've had all these streaming services so we could review stuff,
cancel
but
Netflix, gotcha.
That's good.
It's
not
crazy.
Be possible
to add.
Yes.
So I think one of the price points
kind of found
was $16 a month plus $8 to add another household. Yeah. And I think it's also going to be split based off if you want the high definition 4K stuff. That's the Yeah, that's the higher end.
Yeah, that's why I paid $20 a month because of the 4K package. Yeah. It's not like you couldn't mix and match. I didn't care about the 4 screens. I didn't need 4 screens. But you had to buy that tier if you wanted 4K. Which is it is garbage. But anyway, let's run through this quickly because we're
it's all there's nothing new this
spiraling
week,
down
as opposed to last
3-hour podcast.
4 movies.
Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. So Mario Bros. Movies, $9.6 million, down into third, down 23.9%.
Speaking of Mario Brothers,
1.257 billion.
Yeah.
Book Club, The Next Chapter, down a spot. Pretty much all of these are going to be down 1 spot, unless otherwise noted. That brought in $3 million, down 55%. Oddly opened in 5 more theaters. Evil Dead Rise, in its 5th week, brings in
John Wick up
$419 million.
People got bored and said, I want to just go back and watch John Wick again.
Yes, up a spot, interestingly enough.
Yep.
Oh, John Wick's still playing? Cool. Yeah, let's check that out. It's probably how all those conversations went. 1,300 theaters, $1.34 million. Are you there, God? It's me, Mark. Lionsgate, bringing up the rear here. 2 back-to-back. $1.31 million for that one there. In its fourth week, it's made $19.5 million. It got an international release, $407,000. Probably Canada. Probably like a border town in Canada. Hypnotic is down 2 spots in 8th this week.
Have to catch up with their budget.
Catch Up Entertainment. Not really making bank on this one here. Yeah, only $5 million for Hypnotic worldwide. Love Again, down here in 9th, $410,000, and rounding out the top 10 in its 8th week.
Kind of
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves,
$208 million worldwide. Will that be enough to make another adventure? Yeah. So, hey.
I would say that was probably a modest success. Yep. Why the hell not, indeed? And just like, why the hell not shift our focus to gaming news or tech news, whatever kind of news we got going on here. I guess I can start this week. So we had a couple of new product drops this week, one from Team Green and one from Team Red in the GPU sphere. The 4060 Ti has released from Team Green here, coming in at an MSRP of $299 for the 8GB version. The 8GB version can be supplemented. I'm sorry, no, $299 is for the 4060. $399 for the 4060 Ti. Unless, of course, you want the 16GB version, which is $100 more, even though the extra 8 gigs of VRAM costs NVIDIA about $20. But the real kicker here is that the 4060 Ti is at best 4% faster than the 3060 Ti, and at worst 5% slower than its previous gen counterpart. A performance gap that is unprecedented from NVIDIA. This kind of feels, the 40 series feels a lot like the 20 series, where they put all their eggs in the DLSS 3 basket to like justify the value proposition and the gen over gen improvement. Because with the exception of the 4090, none of the cards are really that big of a generational leap. The 4080 is pretty fast, but it's like kind of only a little bit faster than the 3090 Ti, which was of course a couple classes up above 3080, but it also costs $600 more than the 3080 did. So you're not getting a lot of value. But this is probably like, it's a waste of sand. The 4060 Ti is a waste of sand that could have been used for literally anything else and been more useful. It is, don't buy it. Don't do it. It doesn't make sense at that price point. It doesn't make sense at the $299 price. Well, maybe at the $299
this kind of reminds me of,
it would make sense.
You ever take
but
Econ
that's
101
the 460,
and
not the
you
Ti.
ever did the auction
it's
for
cut down
$10?
even further.
No. So the teacher is like, all right, we're doing an auction for $10. Bidding starts at 50 cents. And it'll go up and up, and it'll go right up until it's $10. And inevitably someone will even fucking vote. They'll bid $10.50 for a $10 bill. This just feels, it's got that same energy to me, where it's like you're breaking your basic principles of your product line.
Yeah, like it's back in my day, back in the far flung past of 2016, when Nvidia released the Pascal architecture, the 1060 6 GB traded blows with the 980 from the previous gen, and now here we are, 4060 Ti, at sometimes slower than the 3060 Ti. And the 3060 has 4 more gigabytes of VRAM, which is important if you're playing a game like Last of Us Part 1, which even at 1080p uses 8.9 gigabytes of VRAM. And Jedi Survivor also has performance issues related to VRAM overflow. So, not a great time. How did Team Red respond? Well, with the 7600, which is a card that is much more reasonably priced than the 4060 Ti, coming in at a slash day of release from the intended MSRP from $300 to $270. So they took $30 off the price, and it is an okay 1080p card, but it is not much faster than the 6650 XT from last gen, which can be had for about $200 at the time of this recording. I'm no whiz at math, but 200 seems less than 270 to me. And it's not a correlated amount slower. At a sale price, I would say it's an okay buy if you're playing at 1080p, but the Arc A750 has had like vastly improved drivers. You still do need resizable bar. So if you're on an older CPU, it's might not be a realistic option for you. But at $200, the A750 seems like oddly the most compelling value proposition
when your opponent
of a
goes
current
all in
gen
at the poker
card, at
table,
least.
You see them, and sometimes they have high card 7, and you've got 2 pair, and that's all you need to rake in the chips.
Yeah, it's it's fucking. The A750 is, we're now in a place where that is the budget GPU I would recommend for most people, given that they have a motherboard and CPU that support resizable bar, because it's got better ray tracing performance than you get on a 600 series AMD card, and comparable, I think, to what you'd get on the 7000 series. It is like $100+ cheaper than the 60 series option from NVIDIA. And I just got done telling you that the 4060 Ti is only marginally slower than the 3060 Ti.
Wow.
Well, guess what card the A750 is roughly equivalent to? The 3060 Ti. And you can get it for like $200. Now, it is still a first-gen product. They are still working out some of the software bugs, but they've shown that they are committed to improving the software experience on this card, so you will get some fine wine driver development.
Yep.
And it feels like now is kind of the time. What a renaissance for
not
art,
be the worst.
From like a kind of disappointing launch to now being in a position where, like, if you want a current gen graphics card, if you need a card that does AV1 encoding on the hardware side, and you want to play games at like 1440p, 1080p, maybe even 1440, the A750 makes a lot of fucking sense.
That's all you got to do, and there it is. I got one. PlayStation. They had some kind of case of shows.
You fucking stole it. Okay.
I fucking stole it, Jake.
Well, depending on what
there's a lot in here, so we'll grab a different couple. Which ones did you want to grab? And I'll grab.
I was talking about the. I was going to talk about the handheld.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I'll talk about the games.
Yeah, state of play.
The big games in the showcase. MGS3, they're going to remake it. Kojima-less. We'll see how that turns out.
Snake Eater.
Delta.
Yeah, but I guess it's the same company that remade a couple other games that ended up really nice. So
Okay.
you just need to remaster it. You don't need to change much about it. So,
but you know Kojima would want to throw other shit in there.
So, of like all the Metal Gear games you could remaster,
what's the one?
Snake Eater feels like it needs it the least. It's pretty modern in terms of game
MGS
design.
1 and 2
I would.
They already
made
a remake of those.
1? Have they?
I think this is. I think I get why they chose this one. It's if you want to.
I don't believe so. Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, I was gonna say it lets them show off.
Because their canonically,
big jungle
it is the first.
An open world, open level design, and they're obviously gunning for look at all the dirt on Snake's fucking face. Look at our graphics; they're so good. That's what it seems to be going with for me. But
yeah, that's what Reddit says. That's what Reddit says.
To
maybe
be seen.
Chronology.
Yeah.
What other games?
Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yay!
Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 16, Dragon's Dogma 2.
Another Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Alan Wake 2 is interesting.
Splatoon.
That's one that's been rumored for a while.
Yeah, that was weird. It's Splatoon, but with foam.
Yeah.
And like a cyberpunk kind of theme to it.
Yeah, very pop punk kind of thing.
Because whenever Sony
it's literally
go talk to the PlayStation Move,
Nintendo IP, that works out great for them.
Oh yeah, PS All Stars.
Yeah, jeez.
Well, I was thinking more like
and
Smash Bros.
Fucking
clone.
most surprisingly, for me, I don't know. This was the trailer that stood out to me the most. A new fucking marathon game from Bungie.
Yeah. Yep.
They.
Hey, that is interesting. We did also, I think, at State of Play get
symbiote
our first
stuff,
look at
Kraven
Spider-Man 2, which is very exciting.
I don't know, just for me, marathon. They haven't made a marathon game in they haven't made an explicit marathon game in 20 years.
Yeah, 1994 was when they made a groundbreaking FPS demo. I guess was it a demo? And it was. I mean, it put Bungie on the map, and then they made Halo.
No, Marathon. They made 3 Marathon games.
Oh, did they? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I love in the blurb for this trailer. It'll be set in the same universe. And I'm like, motherfucker, every Bungie game is set in the Marathon universe. Even if they don't know it, they're all in that same universe. Mm-hmm. Go play Marathon. Go read all the terminals. Go insane and learn all the lore. And you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if it's one thing Bungie does, they put a lot of lore into their games. They put a lot of bullshit into Halo's 1, 2, and 3, and then special iterations after that. They always put terminals with crazy amounts of random factoids to feed the lore sharks.
It's kind of like ARG levels almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got that Spider-Man first look where they showed. I don't know if did they call that gameplay or was that because that looked really good, looked really smooth.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes of gameplay.
I know. I don't know. I'm so jaded from E3 shenanigans, but also Spider-Man's always looked really solid. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was the shit that we see in the game.
Kurt, I mean, you just gave it a couple months ago a really glowing review of the first one, right?
Yeah, this is the graphical. Yes, I absolutely loved it. I don't use the term masterpiece lightly, but it is a masterpiece. I think it is the best game of 2018 and Spider-Man Remastered. I mean, this is the kind of graphical fidelity that we saw in that, maybe a little bit little bit more pumped up. And the game looks to run pretty
monster.
well. Now, is it running on like
everything in the background turned off?
maybe a souped up like dev kit? Possibly. But Insomniac has a pretty good history of optimization. That's the word I was looking for. So I feel like this is going to run pretty well on PS5, obviously. I don't know when it's going to come to PC. It might be a couple of years. They turned Miles Morales around pretty quickly. I'll say that. And I think they both sold very well on PC. So they'll probably... I mean, it will be at least a year of exclusivity on PS5 for sure. But hopefully not much more than that, because I really want to play it, but I don't think it's worth
so
to
while
me
you wait for
buying
that,
a
you can bide your
PS5
time by
to
sinking your
play,
teeth into the new
that game.
handheld that Sony's coming out
mobile
with.
pad with ears.
It literally looks like, and this is no joke, it looks like a fan-made edit of like their Xbox 360 handheld that's gonna come out. Like I remember
It's
doing
a
this
Nintendo
bullshit.
niche or even a Deem Stack.
Do you remember ever, like, before the internet was super popping, just going on like Google and trying to find out if there was ever any news about the Xbox 720, the new Xbox that's coming out?
Oh yeah,
and it's like there were renderings of like a sphere and
I can find that video.
The new Xbox 360 handheld, and it's got like a laptop. This is like that shit because it's literally they took a DualSense controller and they took out the middle guts and they put a tablet in the center. And it's like, yeah, I can do that on CAD. I mean,
they put a tablet in the middle of it.
Silly.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like the final production.
I hope so.
Design.
You know what?
Famously, they changed the design of
this is all we want.
PS3 controller.
About the specs of it, this is the curious thing. Calling it a handheld is.
So is it not supposed to be? Isn't it supposed to be like the Logitech?
It's connected
G
through
Cloud
the
thing,
Wi-Fi.
where it's just all in-home streaming from your PS5.
You'll be able to pick up your PlayStation game and play it anywhere connected to your Wi-Fi. It's not. It's I don't know if that'd be considered cloud gaming. It's in-home streaming. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's in-home streaming. Like I do the same thing with my Steam Deck. If there's a Windows game I want to play, and it doesn't run on the Steam Deck, or if it's a game that's
nice, but you also have the
I'll
option
run it on
to
my machine downstairs and
just
stream
play
it to
something
my
on a
deck.
bus somewhere and not have it connected.
Yes. So the price point is where that gets sticky, because the Logitech G Cloud is a similar device,
and
that's not
that makes sense. I mean, this is essentially what you're buying.
That costs
this is all it is.
$200.
This is all they've announced. This is all they've announced is this like in-home Wi-Fi, play anywhere in your house.
G-Hub, my bad.
It's essentially a controller with a screen on it that you can stream your games to. Okay. So I would expect like a price point of like
I'm sorry, the G Cloud is $300.
I would hope it'd be much cheaper than that, like $200.
I think anything more than $250, and you're dooming it to failure. Because isn't that what the Vita cost at launch? $250.
This is the controller of a Wii
and this
U.
is like
but they could
speaking,
subsidize that with
game
game costs as well if they were losing them.
Yeah, like they own the design to the hardware. They aren't licensing any software. Like they have a lot of edge to like make this.
Yeah, I just don't see a world where this is a good product. I just don't. I mean, like if you're already in your house, just play it on your TV. I understand wanting to get up and go, but like a lot of these PlayStation games were made for like the big screen, and you're not playing baby games on. If you have this, you might already have a Switch.
Yeah, This is a kind of one of the things I've experienced with the deck is that some games really don't play as well as you would like them to on the smaller screen. And like being able to play these games in bed is awesome. Like I love my Steam Deck. I'm never going to say a bad thing about the Steam Deck. And I think even something like the G Cloud at the right price makes sense for a certain kind of person. I don't know that this is going to have a wide appeal. Because like you said, Jake, the majority of people think along the same lines you do. I am already in my house. I can just play the PS5 on my thing. The only thing I could think of is if you're someone who has like a spouse... or a living girlfriend who will at times monopolize the TV that your PS5 is hooked up to.
And you need to be on the go. Yeah, exactly.
But like, how many people is that going to get? I don't. And like, how much are they willing to spend for that? Maybe
their own
luxury.
Steam Deck, their new handheld, their new Vita. Which the way that Steam Deck and Asus are coming out with their own options, sure, let's full send it, let's go, let's try to get it there, but I don't know, let's see.
Yeah, if it has some limited ability to play games on its own, I think it'd be okay. But if it's just like a streamer from your PS5, I don't know, man. That's a tough sell to me. But we'll see how Project Q, which is still in the very early days, like this is just we have concept art basically. We'll see what it comes to be. I think the way the Steam Deck has sold has kind of opened a lot of eyes around the industry, and you're gonna have a lot of copycats. I think Valve is going to come out on top because I believe it delivers.
Unless someone else develops, like the only way that they're going to outpace the Steam Deck is if they bring in a new disruptive technology, which like otherwise you're just making a worse Steam Deck.
Well, I mean, from a hardware perspective, you can put better hardware than the Steam Deck has, and it can like run games better than the Steam Deck. So in that case, you're making a better Steam Deck, but you have to be conscious of price. Like the Steam Deck has the base tier has a very aggressive price point, and that's something that hasn't really been matched, like the value proposition of the Steam Deck, because it's not. Steam Deck isn't like the best at any one particular thing. It's just the most sensible package in terms of what compromises they made.
Did we lose him?
How lost did we?
I was watching his the video he sent over of all
not very okay
old fucking things, and man, it gave me some weird nostalgia.
Early days of YouTube.
The Nintendos. The iBox. I love that.
Yeah,
that made me chuckle. I forgot people were like iBox. Saying like, "Oh yeah, like what if Apple gets into the gaming world?" Like the iBox, the GameCube portable, the Wii phone.
Yeah. And at the end, it's just the PS4. The PS4 again.
The funny PS4.
Nintendo DS closed.
Oh gosh. Yeah. As far as other gaming news, that was pretty much It was kind of a light week for
I think that's
for games.
fine.
The big one was the PlayStation thing, and like an Aero
state of play.
Air.
It was lighter than Air, perhaps. Let's talk about Air. Air. So this is something that we've done a little bit more in recent times, but is still a relative rarity, where we actually review a movie that we had previously done the Spotlight segment on. But it just kind of lined up, right? None of us were too particularly keen on seeing The Little Mermaid.
Or Tetris.
So we had to complete. We have to watch
Jake,
this.
Have you heard about
Blackberry,
Frosted?
And I guess
Wait,
now
no. What about
Frosted.
Frosted?
We've learned of another.
Jerry Seinfeld's Frosted.
We've learned this
story.
Hollywood.
Yeah, that's about where we were at too.
So there's a fourth one that we're gonna have to
or Unfrosted,
Unfrosted,
to
the
sink our
Pop-Tart
teeth
story.
into. But I digress. So
I think it's good too.
I think it's pretty good. For a subject matter that I can't say that I was terribly interested in beforehand. I am not what you would call a sneakerhead. I think they did a pretty good job of making a entertaining movie. It held my attention. It held my girlfriend, who is famously short of attention. It held her attention. So it's at least compelling enough to do that. Matt Damon,
yes, I will say
a lot. Actually, pretty much everyone in the cast deliver very good performances.
They did so well on the technical side of the film, filming, particularly with stuff they did with the editing and a little bit with the writing. I think there's a little too much kind of not enough consistency IMO in the inter-scene editing or the intra-scene editing. And I think there's maybe a little bit too much of tell don't show, which is it's tough to do in a movie about that is a step into fiction from documentary, right? Yeah. But I agree that all the performances,
the docudrama,
fine,
as it were,
good. Matt Damon has a couple really nice monologues in there that he just busts them out.
Yeah, Matt Damon with Chris Messina, who's the agent David Falk. Their back and forth were fantastic. And then the banter from Jason Bateman was a standout. I'm a big fan of Bateman.
Jason Bateman, pretty much playing Michael Bluth. Oh yeah, I think he's great.
Yeah,
and I think
Bluth,
this is a role that he's comfortable in.
He's played Ozark,
businessman a lot.
He's just a little bit more grittier in that one.
Yeah, I think they were great. They all did really well.
He looks
Chris
like the
Tucker,
bloated corpse of Chris
doesn't
Tucker.
really super look like Chris Tucker anymore, but he's still pretty funny.
He's Chris Tucker, I guess. Didn't really know what he was.
He's the tuckest he's ever been.
Didn't really know what his purpose was in the movie until much later. They had some they would cut away to these
the liaison
side characters. Chris Tucker playing Howard White, who is I guess like the agent brand liaison.
Yeah, something like that.
He's kind of like a middleman between the company.
They explained. I think they explained a lot of this. They kind of
in the street sort of guy.
That explanation was in a scene which I really like, which was the kind of the main, the action shot of the movie, which was them designing the shoe in their one night frenzy. But he was I guess he was one of the guys who was in on the ground floor when Nike started.
Well, I think it was over the
So he came up with the rest of the sales team and the execs.
Right, yeah.
Which, I mean, that's one of the things
which I
they were
learned a
setting
little
out
bit
to do for
about
sure.
the history of Nike, which was kind of I did not know before. Yeah, I did not know some of the factoids I picked up in this movie.
A great movie for
It's
streaming.
like it's just
I'll agree.
it's good. Like I feel like it's a well constructed movie. The story holds your interest. I don't feel it never insulted my intelligence. I think it was fairly clever with some of the setups. Like I particularly like we'll push a little into spoilers here. I particularly like the scene where Matt Damon's character goes down to North Carolina to meet with the Jordans, which is a bit of a faux pas in most circumstances, but he really believes that Michael Jordan's going to be great and that Nike needs to do everything they can to sign him to a deal. So he goes down and like he's talking with Viola Davis, who plays Mrs. Jordan, and he's like telling her exactly how the meetings with Converse and Adidas are going to go and like what questions you should ask their leadership. And then later in the movie, they take those meetings,
and they didn't.
And,
they could
like,
have done it in a
pays
way
off.
where it like
And it's a very
instantly pays
satisfying
off.
way
Like they could have
to
done
be
like
like,
a
yeah,
flash
okay.
forward, or
He's
they
not
could have just.
bullshitting you.
Yep.
Or like a side by side, like have the
exactly.
Muted them at the meeting with like his words coming out of the mouth of the
again with the performances.
the
I think this is
there.
one of my favorite Viola Davis performances. Like she's in a fair few things, but like I don't know. Like this one's I really like this one.
Yeah, I think this was one of the stronger ones I've seen.
Fences.
Was she in Hidden Figures?
Yeah. The Woman King.
I didn't see that one.
Or she was in The Help? That's the one.
I mean, I guess
she was
really
good in The
like
Help, but that's not one that I've seen. So, like of the ones I've seen, I've seen her in a couple of other things. Yeah, she was like weirdly cast in The Woman King.
She was she was Michelle Obama in First Lady
for a number of reasons, but we've already hashed those out in previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a good actress. I'm not denying that, and I think this was a role that really suited her strengths well. And I'm sure.
You know what I did not like is that
Mrs.
they
Jordan
made me really like Michael
to
Jordan's
seen
dad.
her in the role.
Julius Tennant plays James Jordan, and then they drop the bomb on us that he got shot in cold blood.
Which has like a guy who, as someone who doesn't follow any of this, it's like, wow, okay.
I did not.
I mean,
I don't care too much. But now I do.
I knew that. I mean, that's why he retired from the NBA and went to go play baseball. Or at least that's the reason he gave. There's a conspiracy theory that was actually a secret year-long suspension from the NBA because of his gambling problem. I don't know that I buy into that, but his stated reason for retiring the first time was that
Michael Jordan,
his dad always wanted him to be a baseball player.
Interesting choice that I think was driven by he just wouldn't let them use his likeness for this movie. That they gave him the old Al from Home Improvement treatment.
Yeah, that was I didn't know.
He says about one word, but they also include a lot of stock footage of him, so they probably purchased the license for that.
Yeah, like I think it was a kind of a stylistic choice because
he is a MacGuffin.
Weirdly, the movie isn't so much about him.
Yeah.
He's more of an idea than a person in this movie, which is kind of interesting. But I think it works within the context of the movie. And, I'm sure it was fairly realistically portrayed where his mother
That's
was the
why
one
I
primarily
didn't like
dealing
Chris
with
Tucker's
the business affairs at the time.
character rather. Here we go. Found some trivia for you. Buckle in. Though Michael Jordan was not directly involved in the film, Ben Affleck consulted him numerous times to get details on how to accurately portray the story. According to Affleck, Jordan's only 2 requests were that Viola Davis play his mother and that his longtime friend Howard White be included in the film. Affleck always wanted to work with Chris Tucker, so he was cast as White. Tucker was also friends with White, and Affleck gave him a lot of flexibility for his performance.
Okay. So it was like a favor kind of thing.
Yeah, like they just added him in there because he was a request, and I think their original view of the story didn't really have much for him to do. So, yeah.
You just kind of add some like a little
Well,
extra.
I mean, he
flavor
doesn't
to the
do a whole
scenes.
lot in the movie as is. So, I'm sure his role in has its
he was
portrayal in the movie
more
is similar.
associated
And they
with
show
him.
in the
Same with Marlon
end
Wayans'
credits,
character. I
they
didn't
do
really
the
like
Where Are They Now?
the story, the side thing with George Raveling, which I'm okay. Fine.
It was like that one kind of
it was
digression
important to that
scene over there.
But it was like it kind of broke up the pacing a little bit for him to just get a pep talk.
He's in like a scene
from like somebody important in his life, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he had to like fly out there, I was like kind of jarring.
That is something that all these product picks are going to have to struggle with. Is that like by and large the path and the story that they want to tell is going to be pretty straightforward and concise, like with Flamin', right? Which, a side note, like I heard like Eva Longoria is like complaining that like it's because she's a woman that a woman director.
Oh
that
yeah, that's another one.
Getting flopped, like she's not getting any second chances on it. It's like, well, the thing is, the story of the Flamin' Hot Cheeto is like a blurb. It's like a 2 sentences on a Wikipedia article, and the challenge is having to take that story and fill it out. Like, what do you choose to fill it out with?
Like that would be a challenge even for a skilled director. Not that, like, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know Eva Longoria's skill as a director.
I mean, at least with this story,
so she's at the very least inexperienced.
Assuming the portrayal of Nike's like business at that point is accurate, like at least this has a good amount of tension in it where there's a lot on the line. If they fail to get Michael Jordan, the basketball line is inevitably doomed, and they're kind of putting it all on Jordan, which they established in the beginning that Matt Damon's character is a bit of a gambler, so he's willing to
a very, very explicit scene right up front.
Yeah.
He's a risk taker.
With all the subtlety of a sledgehammer, they established
his risk
that.
on Jordan paid off a little bit too well.
Yeah. I guess they say this. It's I think a reasonable choice and a uncommon choice for the screenwriters to write in, kind of make his connections all within the business, because I'm sure Mr. Vaccaro IRL, it doesn't seem like he had like a significant family at the time. Like he was just like a single salesman kind of dude, because there's like one scene of him at home, and when he's at home, he's watching tapes of the games.
Tapes of the games, eating a TV dinner. He's kind of alone.
And I mean, they have a whole scene where he and what's his name?
Bateman.
They're talking about how like he just doesn't, how Matt Damon's character doesn't have like a family. It's like you can commit yourself 100% to this. Like I gotta, if you fail, you're gonna do something else. If I fail, I can't give my daughter the shoes and like
the free shoes, which first world problems.
I do love love how they kind of display everyone at Nike as like a little bit of a sleaze bag. It's like I buy my daughter's love with free shoes, like the Ben Affleck's character.
Well,
night guy. He's like talking about Buddhist aphorisms, and he drives in on his luxurious great Porsche.
Grape. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll push back on the Bateman thing a bit because that's actually kind of like it was a sad story. Like, that's why she looks forward to seeing him is because he can give this to her.
I'm
and
not
he
arguing,
so
but like
desperately wants to see her happy.
he's also painting the picture that like he's a dude who mostly lost custody of his daughter, and that's like his lifeline is giving her like material gifts.
Yeah. His only connection to her is like a material gift.
Well, I mean, custody courts are,
what I'm saying is they're not like really super lionizing the characters.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah, they're real. They're real people with real people problems, and I think that's why the movie.
Like I said, my favorite part of the movie was, it was maybe one step down from a montage. And side note, I maintain that this movie should have been an '80s jukebox musical, but that's neither here nor there.
Nice.
Yeah. And when we looked at like, it's a Warner Brothers thing, like, okay, that
the catalog.
That's our continuing not theory, but observations that with Warner's, because they have all their music their whole music library, you can easily license out a lot of popular music to put in your movie, and that's what they did here.
They have
that scene where they're designing the shoe over that weekend, it's one step short of a montage, and I think that's fine. That they expanded it out to at least a couple different scenes. And they're like, the scene where they're designing the shoe and they're like, they come up with the idea like, fuck it. We'll just pay the fines and we'll turn that kind of restriction on its head for clout. And then, that scene right before they meet where they're all huddled. Like we're college guys. We've had those moments where the fucking test is the next day and you all got to like huddle up.
And the entire time I kept on thinking I was like they haven't told Ben Affleck's character about Phil Knight. They haven't told Phil Knight about paying the fines yet. And I'm like, when are they going to drop that on him? It's like because the whole thing is that like he's so stingy with his money. Max out the budget
right in the middle of the meeting.
I'm assuming they had some flexibility once they got him because they were like, all right, we'll throw in the car as well, which is like, maybe $30,000-$40,000 at the time.
Yeah.
I do love that he learns about that though in the meeting.
Yeah, 45 maybe.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was great when he dropped that on him. Yeah, but honest, like to Jason Bateman's point, the headlines it generated, you're gonna
not to mention
buy that much
the greatest reply at the end.
He's like, $5,000 any other way.
Fuck it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and like not to mention like the fact that those shoes were all red and black, and in a field of white shoes, you're gonna stand out like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Was it red and white? They said I think it was 51% white.
And it ultimately, it had to be like 75% white. Or 50 or whatever the number was, it had to be that much white. But I think the popularity of Air Jordans led to the NBA relaxing those rules.
Yeah,
because if you watch the NBA now, you don't see a lot of white on those shoes.
I lost my thread. But I guess I will also say it didn't really feel 2 hours. Went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it was certainly well paced. I didn't look at my watch once, which is the ultimate sign that the movie held my interest and was engaging throughout its runtime. It is kind of a little bit rough, so like
which is better than
I guess you would call the pitch meeting at Nike the climax of the movie.
Did you guys actually see Tetris?
Yeah, we reviewed it.
Oh yeah, this movie's way better than Tetris.
Oh, were you not there that week?
No, I think I was out that week.
Yeah. We reviewed
well,
it.
Tetris. So instead of having the pitch meeting and the final deal, brokering the deal to become the climax
It's
of the
not that
film,
great.
Tetris spread it out over the second act of the film,
Oh.
and then made the third act like an action car chase through Russia
And the
to
Like an
get out of the
action
country. Yeah, like they had to get out of the country with the documents as the
That's
fucking
so
SS were not the SS but the USSR, the communists were hunting them down, the KGB, which like Kurt and I were like, okay, they probably said we need to get out of the country
Reds.
before they get on us, and they maybe hit a little traffic, and then they got on the plane, and that was that.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a fucking Cold War spy thriller car chase the way it was in the movie. Yeah, nothing so unbelievable here. But after they made the big pitch, the kind of like tension build to that before we hit, he signs on and you get to the denouement is just a whole lot of waiting. And I know you build tension that way, but when you're waiting for something to happen, inherently, nothing is happening currently. And they did it felt like 10 minutes. It's probably more like 5, but it felt like 10 minutes of just not much happening in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of not great, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
But, they made it work.
I think if they had,
that's
the story was
the one criticism I really have about the pacing.
that would
or
definitely
not
be the
doing
part
too
where
bad.
you put in, like he goes home to see his family, or he has to talk with his family, and they have like a little personal moment there. It's a good little downtime segment where you can catch up on like whatever B plot you had, and there was really not really a B plot in this.
It was very focused, and like they didn't try to force in like the stock like emotional low point for the main character. Like it was pretty straightforward, like this is our goal, these are the steps we're taking to achieve that goal, and these are how these events play out. Like it felt very much like a cinematic presentation of what a documentary would cover in a more factually based, which I guess is the goal of the docudrama.
Like
so
true,
kudos to Ben
hits that
Affleck
verisimilitude
on that.
Right there. Again, my final thing with regards to the editing was just if you're someone who has a real eye for that sort of thing, I would suggest kind of watching this if you have Prime Video. Just check out be real. You can be real critical of it. Check out the times when they use an editing like a move or a technique as like a one-off sort of thing. Take a check on some of those J cuts and L cuts.
So I think some of that might have been like to pay homage to the 80s, because that's when like digital film editing came into vogue.
I'll also say they did the thing which they didn't do the thing which I kind of complain about on like lower budget movies, which they don't start the movie with a drone B-roll aerial shot. That's good. I appreciate that. They save that for a little later in the opening and they keep it tight. It's like good. People overuse that. But yeah, I think if I had to ask this movie to do one thing, it'd just be a little more consistent and judicious. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think you could tighten up the runtime a little bit. Not too much. I think you could maybe pry 10 minutes out of this, and it's a little more snappy. But I don't know that's kind of like, it's a bit of a nitpick, right? And I think the movie is perfectly functional as it is.
Yeah.
It is about as good as I can expect for one of these movies Prime, to be.
Who, if I stayed past the credits, I'm fairly certain they would have recommended, do you want to buy the original style of Air Jordans? And then taking me to a link on the fucking shop. Absolutely.
Yeah, something like that. Product integration opportunity.
So yeah, ranks over Tetris.
Pretty good movie.
We'll
Much.
we will
it's in
probably
the lead.
watch Flamin' Hot and Blackberry.
We'll see how.
And Unfrosted. Yep.
Oh, we're gonna watch Flamin'. We're gonna watch them all. Blackberry is for sure happening. Unfrosted.
Jerry can just make.
I
Again, we talked about
Jerry's
this a little earlier this week. He can make whatever the fuck he wants because he doesn't have to do anything for money. He only needs to do it for the creative fulfillment, and that's why we got B Movie, which turned out to be just off the rails, but also iconic for being totally off the rails.
Yeah, I wonder how much he was involved with like B Movie in terms of like
what a weird cast
bringing it from idea to the screen.
People who want to work with Jerry Seinfeld.
But
I'm looking at.
And it's a pretty strong cast of comedians and humor. Second time I used that joke tonight. Ching. All right. So we'll keep the leaderboard active. Right now we have Air in the top spot. On the video, I am gesturing to nothing in particular, and we have Tetris bringing up the rear. We'll see how. I think Blackberry is probably the next one that we're going to see because it's out at least. I don't know when it's going to fit in. Next time
2 episodes a week
in the very big summer movie release schedule that we're about to get pounded with. Well, we could definitely. It's definitely feasible to like pre-tape a review. Just have that. I'll
pre-tape some. I'll pre-tape some sound bites of me
to throw on.
Wow.
A random episode.
That's whatever you're talking about for you.
I mean, we definitely record all of these live. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way these things go sometimes.
Just get the chat.
I'm tempted to see.
I will voice act the Chat GPT
soundboard
Saturn Studs
of each of us and like piece together a somewhat coherent episode of that.
That's true.
We tried to get to be a Saturn Studs. We'll see. These are fun ideas that we will explore in time. And until then,
full circle.
That's going to be a wrap on episode 368. Jesus, yeah, we've been doing this a while. Until next time, be well